Hi, everybody. Erica here from In the Company of Cards. If you're new, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. Thanks to all of you who joined us either live or in replay on Wednesday when Lena Rodriguez from Tarot Down Under and I did our episode of Worldview 360. We really appreciate having you along with us for that ride. And we will be back again next week. So it's been a week. It has been a week and lots of things to look at. So I'm just going to sort of go down my list and see what we can see. Uh, thank you for all the likes, the shares, the hypes, the comments. Um, I really appreciate all of that. Make sure you're still subscribed. If you think this is a channel that your friends or family would enjoy or appreciate, if not always enjoy, um, please do share it with them. I'd really like to see the channel continue to grow. It's doing really well, and I'm delighted. But I'm hoping to be able to reach as many people as possible because my whole goal is to sort of show people what cards can do, and also to help us get through these really hairy times. So since we last were together, Christy Noem has been fired. I just want to go on record as saying that I predicted that months ago, so it came as no surprise to me that that happened. I'm glad it happened. I will say that her successor is not much better. Um, he has spent 10 years in Congress. He's got a hair trigger temper. You may have seen video of him getting up to fight somebody in a witness, I think, maybe at a Congress session, and Bernie Sanders having to remind him that he was a congressman and needed to sit his behind down and comport himself accordingly. This is a guy with an associate's degree in nothing to do with government whatsoever, no bachelor's degree. Not that the degree is the beginning and the end of everything, but he is uneducated in except for on-the-job training, and certainly uneducated in the job that he will be going into at the end of the month, which of course is being the head of Homeland Security. So it does not bode well. I don't even think I need to look at that. I do think that he very well could be confirmed. Um, if all was right with the universe, of course, he would not be confirmed. But there are more Republicans than there are Democrats. And the thinking is that we need somebody to be heading up uh, that part of government. And so I suspect he will be confirmed. Uh, the other person that I have looked at a lot, and I'm going to look at again, in light of current events, recent events of recent days, is of course Pam Bondi. Pam Bondi, who continues to withhold documents, although when she was threatened with subpoena, and she in fact has been served, and will probably be testifying next month. It'll be in closed session, and this session will be specifically about the e-files. When she was threatened with subpoena, she all of a sudden managed to find well, a bunch of documents that had been withheld. These are documents and videos and photographs, etc., that have specifically to do with the felon and his involvement with Mr. E. So it was not a question of they were lost. It was not a question of, the haste with which they had to be produced. No. Clearly, this was conscious on the part of, and intentional on the part of Attorney General Bondi. So she will be subpoenaed and runs the risk of impeachment. I just want to look at, she has lied. I mean, I'm not even going to say allegedly because I mean, it's kind of in black and white. But I'll say, okay, allegedly and for entertainment purposes only, whatever. But she does really run the risk of impeachment and being convicted once she's impeached. So let's see how things will go for her. Remember that previously I have always seen her leaving before she can be punished and leaving of her own volition, so to speak, and absconding to somewhere in the Middle East, although given everything that's going on in the Middle East, maybe that's not quite the destination spot that it was prior to last week. So let's look and see how things look for Pam Bondi. We're going to use the older woman for her, and here she is. So, she has been quite a good soldier for the felon. She has done everything that he's asked for and more, but she also does know where all the bodies are buried. So that makes her kind of a dangerous person. At any rate, I think it's very interesting that we have the cross, the garden, Bondi, the felon, and the tower. And I may draw clarifiers on a couple of these, but I will say that in her private moments, she is really in a world of hurt. She truly is. I love that for her, as they say. She knows she's in a lot of trouble. She knows she's certainly in a lot of trouble with the public. So she's, of course, in the center, and she's in trouble with the public. She's also in trouble with the felon because she's in trouble with the public. She has tried to hold back things as long as she could, at great risk to her own position, her own legal status, all for the felon. And I think that with these two cards flanking the other three, she's feeling like she's in a world of hurt, and I think she feels like she is on an island alone. Because the felon, he expects loyalty. We know that, right, from everybody. But he himself is not loyal to the people whom he asks loyalty from. And she's feeling that. I think she's feeling out of his good graces. And the only reason that she's not in his good graces is because everything that he told her to do, she did, but it hasn't worked, is the point. Um, the Epstein files are not going away. So she's really feeling it. So let's pull some clarifiers. Okay, put this down so you can see. Yeah, this is the actual first time when I have seen her uh, be less smug than she always has seemed to be in the readings. Like, whatever happens, I'll be fine. I'll be rich. I'll be living La Vida Loca. I don't think she's thinking that anymore. So on the cross, remember, this is a card of pain and suffering, and she is experiencing that. We have clover, bouquet, and dog. So here's what she's thinking. In the midst of feeling really tortured, right? Um, she is just sure that some kind of way a rabbit will be pulled out of the hat. This is that kind of card. It's like a surprise, Santa Claus, that kind of thing. She really thinks that. She thinks she cannot imagine that as loyal as she has been to him since her days in Florida, that her loyalty would not be rewarded. And this is typical of people who work for the felon. They are sure, even as the dominoes, drop all around them, they are just convinced, each of them individually, that they themselves will not be a domino that falls. Surely they will be the exception to the rule. They very much think like teenagers. I'm not going to get in a car accident. I can drink. I can not wear a seatbelt. I can speed. They think they're going to be the exception. So that's the first line, is that she's feeling like Deus ex machina. I've used that expression before, which is the same thing as rabbit out of a hat, but really it's God out of a machine. That something's going to happen, and the felon is going to reward her, and she'll be fine. People will see the error of their ways, or if not, the felon will always take care of her, be grateful to her, and reward her for her loyalty. The second card, if you recall, was the garden, and this is the card for the public. Clarifiers are the bear, the mountain, and the ring. Currently, in the court of public opinion, she really is being overwhelmed by bad press, by the words out of her own mouth that are indicting her, by the fact that Republicans now are eager to have her head on a plate. So she is just blocked, and there's no exit. Every exit that she looks for, it's just circle. There's no right angle door that she can go out of. She's trapped. Why is she trapped? Because she cast her lot with him, come hell or high water. Knowing the bad deeds, she's read everything in those files. Knowing who he is, she's like, I'm your girl no matter what, through thick or through thin. And so even if she were to try to extricate herself from under his, thrall, um, she still would be trapped because of how long she has um, supported him and his bad deed doing. Here she is in the center, and the clarifiers are the house, the letter, and the tree. I think that what she wants, sort of the last ditch gift that she thinks he could give her, this being the White House, would be a pardon that would last forever and would be for all things. Anything that she even thought about doing on his behalf, she wants that pardon. That's what she's hoping for now. But what's interesting is the card that follows her is the felon himself. I didn't invite him, he just showed up, as he tends to do. And look what the clarifiers are: coffin, young woman, fish. What he's saying to himself is, I paid you money, good American cold hard cash and stock and crypto and whatever else, for you to bury the E situation. And have you done it, dear? Because it doesn't look like it. That's all he can think of is, I paid you to do a job and you didn't do it. So, like, you want me to reward you for that? This is how he's thinking. Had you done the deed, which you tried, I get that, but your trying wasn't good enough. So therefore, I feel like I can stiff you like I have done contractors. I don't owe you anything. That's what he's thinking. So here she is, lonely, feeling like she's really on her own, and confused, not knowing what to do. Being subpoenaed, this is a big thing. This subpoena is not to talk about how her office, how the DOJ has run in the past year and what their successes and failures have been. No, this is narrowly focused on the E files. So there's no squirming out of it. There's no changing of the subject. There's no referencing the stock market, which probably wouldn't be a wise thing to do anyway now. She's like, I don't know what to do. She doesn't know what to do. She backed the wrong horse, as they all do, and now she doesn't know what to do. So it's interesting that we have this young man here because I think that her the speed at which she is moving is this very belligerent, combative, argumentative speed, like she did at the previous hearing. I think she'll come across that way. Um, and I think she really loved the felon. I don't mean in love with, because I mean, ew, but I think she really loved him. And I think I can mirror this last card with the first card. I think she's heartbroken that he is not championing her. He's not saying anything about her. He's not saving her. He's not encouraging her. He gave her instructions on what she needed to do. He compensated her for that. And she is failing. And, people who do that end up metaphorically or literally, entertainment purposes only, sleeping with the fishes. So she's heartbroken. Again, I love that for her. I think that it looks like I tell you that energy is mutable, meaning things change, and that everybody's got free will, everybody involved in the situation does. And I think things have shifted. And this is, I think, probably why I looked at her so often, because I kept saying to myself, are things going to shift? Because things need to shift. Like, why aren't things shifting? Why does it always look like she's going to get away with stuff? I don't think she will. I think she has hit that mountain, which is, you know, a brick wall, and there's nowhere else for her to go at this point. Uh, and she is between, as they say, the devil and the deep blue sea. I'm going to say that the deep blue sea is Congress and their ire, and the devil is the felon because, of course, right? So let's wait and see. I don't see him firing her. I think for him, that would be a dangerous move. I think his best bet would be, uh, in terms of how he interacts with her, is to just seem disappointed that she did not meet his expectations. She seems like the kind of person who, if he steps to her and throws her under a bus in some way, she knows where the bodies are buried, and I think she wouldn't hesitate to let people know. So her fortunes have changed for the worse. I don't think she'll escape this. Okay. Oh, I wanted to just tell you, this is not really a prediction because it already happened. So, you know how I looked at the Texas race a bunch of times and how I consistently saw that Tallarico would beat um, Crockett. And, you know, I was like, well, where's this dark horse coming from that he's going to beat her? She's got such huge, national, international name recognition. But I consistently saw that. The last time I looked at it, her cards looked better than they ever had before relative to Tellerico. And I thought she had a way better chance, but I still saw that he would pull it out. Now, we know what happened. We know that the Republicans put their thumb on the scale, that there were a bunch of Dallas voters, primarily black, whose votes were null and void. They were disenfranchised of their vote. This is a sign of things to come. In the midterms, there will be more attempts of this at this moving forward by the Republicans, right? But that said, I screenshot this statistic. So I just wanted to share it with you if I can find it. Okay. So in the Texas race, overall, across, white, Latino, Black, and Asian voters, Tallarico won 52.3% to Crockett's 46%. That's kind of overall. But when you break them down, when you break the numbers down, white people voted for Tallarico 70% to Crockett's 28%. 70%. Interesting. Latinos voted for Tallarico 62% to Crockett's 36%. Asians voted for Tallarico 71% to Crockett's 27%. Black voters, 6% went to Tallarico and 93% went to Crockett. And I'm just going to say what I have said before. You may not want to hear it, but I'm going to say it anyway. Um, Black Texans got the memo. They understood the assignment, just like they did in last November. Everybody else may have talked a good game, but they did what they did. So when you do what you do, you get what you got. What does that say? If you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got. And the idea of a nice, soft-spoken white boy, because he's very young, over an accomplished, articulate, made her bones, been through the fire, black woman. Texas, Texas did what Texas does. So there you go. Um, okay. So speaking to these new documents that now that Bondi is under subpoena, were all of a sudden released, these e-files that speak specifically to the involvement of the felon. We know that there were four interviews that the FBI did with a girl who was 13 or 14, who accused the felon of, you know, the worst that you can accuse somebody of. I'm not going to say because you can look that up if you don't already know. And um, she she didn't pursue the case any further because the felon was elected president. This was the first time, and the statute of limitations had run out, and she did not think that the case would go anywhere, and so she stopped cooperating with the feds. That said, it is also true that the feds apparently found her credible by all accounts, which of course is why they interviewed her four times. So I just want to know, okay, maybe the statutes of limitations have run out. Um, maybe she won't testify moving forward. But I would like to know, given these particular accusations, the ones that involved things like biting and punching in the head, I'll leave it at that. I just want to know whether these very specific and credible accusations are going to move the needle. Will anything that has been released under duress yesterday or whenever they were released, will any of this move the needle in terms of ultimate um, an ultimate reckoning for the felon? I mean, what am I even asking? Because there's so much else to distract us. And a lot of what's going on is distraction on the one hand. On the other hand, yeah, the Epstein files is a big thing, but the world keeps turning and things do go on, other things in the world. So, fair enough. Um, but Epstein's not going away. I would like to know what what will be the outcome of these new revelations in the files. So I think what I'm going to use is the letter. And will these recent verified, credible accounts of the felon's conduct in relation to a child go anywhere? So let's just see. I'm going to use the letter, and that will stand for the files. Will the recent dump move the needle, and how? So that stands for the files. Okay, so we have the rider, the star. These are the new files. The felon shows up again, and the anchor. I'm just going to say this much, that the information that they have, because this is about news, so the news that they delivered, which really puts him at the scene in really ugly ways. Um, in the future, so not today, not tomorrow, in the future, the documents, particularly the ones recently released yesterday or the day before, how will they affect the felon? They'll sink him. They will sink him. So he can distract all he wants. They will sink him. I'm gonna pull a clarifier on the anchor and on him and on the letter. Yeah, so in the eyes of the public, the court of public opinion, these files, especially these recent developments, really cut him down to size in the eyes of the public. And he looks like the bully that he is. Bullies like to pick on people who are smaller, younger, weaker, right? So it's just more evidence that he is that. He is those things. Here he is, and the clarifiers are the young man, the tree, and the ship. And they make me go back to this star card, which is, I can mirror the star with him, with the card that represents him. This won't be today or tomorrow. I think this is in the future, um, how he'll be seen. It'll take a long time. He will have left the stage by the time um, these new documents do any real reputational damage, which is unfortunate. And why is that the case? Well, so here he is, the anchor sunk, but the clarifiers are the bouquet, the clouds, and the fox. So he's sunk because he really thought that, you know, he continues to think that he's God's gift. But in the future, more and more people will be doubting that, and he will look like the con man that he is. So again, patience, grasshoppers, because it's not going to happen tomorrow. So, in the midst of all the rest of it, we have this ever widening war. And you have the government telling people who are in some of these countries where the war has expanded, countries in the Middle East, get out, get out, get out. And when they call the embassy for advice as to where to go and how to get out and what will be, what are the provisions for them getting out, they're told, can't help you. France is getting their people out, or they've gotten their people out, but can't help you. We know that the felon was asked whether there would be reprisals here, kind of like a 9/11 kind of thing. And he said, uh, could be. People die. I mean, anyway. So I guess, you know, this thing is expanding. Now, all of a sudden, we want Europe to help us out. Um, After we gave them what do the Italians say? After we did that to them, now they're supposed to help us out. But you do have some nations like Australia and Canada, surprisingly, saying, "Okay, yeah, yeah, okay, we'll, good for you, and we'll help." What? Spain said no, and so of course he's now threatening Spain. We know Italy's government is fascist, and they'll probably fall right in line with whatever he wants. Probably France won't, again, for the time being. I mean, well, so I guess what I want to look at is cut to the chase and look at the prospect of this escalating to a world war. Now, we know that the price of oil has shot up already. We also know the jobs report is down. I'm sure the stock market is not anything that Pam Bondi would be able to brag about today. So, uh, there are all kinds of ill effects from this war, which, by the way, that's the other thing is the Congress had the opportunity to rein him in and didn't. They did not. So for everyone who's not in America saying, well, we know that there's a difference between Americans and their government. I am sure that you all are saying, well, I don't know, is there? Because why would your representatives not yoke him up for having waged war without asking permission, without talking to the American people, how are there no repercussions for that? So I think we are rapidly losing the goodwill of the rest of the world because where's the American response? I think is what the world is saying. It's what I'm hearing from people that I know around the world. Um, so with his aggressive bellicose actions, which now extend to, I mean, other places, Ecuador, um, Cuba is the next up, regime change. This is the president who said he would end forever wars, that we were going to take care of Americans and let the world take care of itself. Now, people will say, oh, I voted for him because he said that. You know what? When I look at those numbers in Texas and I just think about all of it, I don't buy anybody's excuse for why they voted for this guy, especially three times. Whoever voted for him knew exactly what they were doing. Their only regret is that they didn't realize that what he was doing would boomerang on them. I think that's the only thing people regret. And so we are founded on blood, human ownership in the form of slavery, lust for money. That's what the nation's founded on. And we have pretended for 250 years that that wasn't true. And everybody agreed to agree with us on that. And now we are being shown for who we always have been. So I'm glad about that. I am. I'm glad that we're being shown for who we are. I use we very loosely, obviously. Um, and there will be a price to pay. So I just want to look at war. And so I'm going to use the scythe and see what the cards have to say about this escalating conflict that we instigated. I've said that to you that Americans apparently are the ones who targeted and destroyed that occupied primary school for girls. We did that. We killed little girls. Little girls were killed in our name. So let's see what will come of this war. Remember, we're looking for the scythe. So we have clouds, anchor, scythe, clover, and the scales card that I added to the Lenormand system. So I think there's a lot of confusion, like why are we even there? We have not had an address from the president to the people, which is normally what happens when you declare a war. And usually you declare a war because there's been some precipitating event that you perceive to be an attack on you. That did not happen here. This was a preemptive strike. I think what I said before is true, that Israel went to the Felon and said, okay, we're going to do this and we need you. So you're going to be not behind us, not in front of us. You're going to be right next to us. And we're both going to do the dirt together. I think because the Felon is compromised in many, many ways, personally, professionally, financially, in every way, by Netanyahu. He was like, okay. And, he was led by the nose into this thing. Um, and he has zero plan, just so you know. There's no plan for this. Um, don't love the anchor because he's saying it's going to be, a 4 or 5 week, at the outset, 6 week mission. That's not true. It's not true. It's never true in the Middle East, by the way. I'm old enough to remember that. I remember when there was the Six-Day War, and which preempted everybody's cartoons and stuff. Uh, that was longer than 6 days. Think Afghanistan, think Iraq. It's never quick, fast, and in a hurry in the Middle East. Nor can you win a war by air in the Middle East. It's never been done. It can't be done. So we are just mired down in this thing. Center card, of course, is the scythe. Interesting that the two cards at the end of the line, I did draw clarifiers, are clover and scales. So I think that the silver lining is that there will be justice around this. Obviously, it's not going to come from the US. It's going to have to come from the international community, I think. I drew clarifiers on the scythe. This is the card that I chose to stand for the war. Clarifiers are the cross, the fish, and the young man. And it's very clear that this war will cost us very painfully in both um, blood and treasure. You know that term, blood and treasure, meaning lives and money. Fourth card is clover. I mean, a lot of times I like clover, so we'll see. Clarifiers are the bouquet, the star, and then the letter. I don't know what these mean, to tell you the truth. These look very optimistic. They could be part of what I've said about there being some justice. We'll talk about that in a second. I know that the expectation, maybe that's what this is about. The expectation is that this will be an in and out kind of thing. Israel gets the land, we get the minerals, um, and then in the future things will be rewritten, and when Israel and the US will own that part of the world. I think that's what this is. I think that's what that line is. It's aspirational on the part of the government. We don't want this, but that's what they want. The fifth card is scales. This is the card for justice. Clarifiers are the Felon, birds, and the ring. He has gotten us into another forever war. I think that people are talking about this, even though they didn't chastise him or prohibit him from doing what he's doing in Congress. Um, I don't love the ring there because it's like forever, but in the end, there will be justice around this. Um, Basically, because it feels like a forever war. Why does it feel like a forever war? Because there's no plan. He only went in when he went in because Bibi said we're going in. Why didn't he mention this during the State of the Union? He ran his mouth for however long that was, an hour and 40 something minutes. He never one time said, oh, and by the way, we're going to do this joint operation and we're going to attack Iran. He never did that. That's how I know how much of a last minute thing it was. Bibi said jump, and the felon said how high. That's what that's about. But again, Pluto and Aquarius, all of these interconnected things, like Israel's role in our government affairs, business affairs, uh, the Christo nationalist push, and the connection between Christo nationalism and Zionism. Uh, the Epstein files. Where's the tariff money? Whose bank account is it in? Everything's connected. It's like a big spider web. And in the fullness of time, a lot of that spider web will fall apart. But again, not before there's a lot more pain to be experienced. I know how it is. I feel like you do. You wake up in the morning and you're like, "Ugh, what's the latest thing?" Because there's always another thing. We just have to keep waking up, putting one foot in front of the other, and doing our part to stay informed and to make known our opinions to the powers that be, help people mobilize, make sure your neighbors are okay. Um, I thought that what I would do finally, or to finish, is I thought I would pull from my new deck that I love. It's the Tarot of the Abyss. Um, I love this one. I love the Black Tarot as well, but this feels more appropriate for the time that we're in. And I just want to look at, did you see that orb that just flew by? I just thought that I would look at March, and I'm just going to pull four cards for these weeks. So today's the 5th, I think, the 6th. So we have the 6th to the 13th. Oops, the 6th through the 13th, 14th through the 20th, uh, first 15th through the 27th. Is that what I'm? No, 20th, 21st through the 27th. And then we have the end of the month. So I just wanted to look and see what we get. So this is for next week. We have the Six of Swords. The week after, we have Strength. The week after that, the Emperor. And the week after that, the Lovers. So um, hmm, the Six of Swords is a usual, well, in the traditional tarot, you'll see it looks like a woman and a child, and they're in a boat. And there's also a boatman, and he is doing all the work while they sit there. And the theory is that they are leaving a difficult situation and they are moving to calmer waters. Um, and in this card, you see that there are stormy seas. You see a boat there, and there are very stormy seas, but the boat seems to be avoiding them because it seems like the sun is bringing good weather, not where the storm is, but where that boat is. So I guess this is saying, what would the French say? Courage, mes amis. Courage, because God knows it takes courage sometimes to just wake up and put your feet on the floor. I get that. I understand that. I am aware of it. And I feel it with you. Um, you can see there's a little figure on the bird. So I think this is a card for hope that we will need to call upon this next week. And what's so interesting is that the following week, in 2 weeks, we have the strength card. I love this card. This is one of my cards that I relate to as a Leo. So, you generally will see a woman with a lion and notice that she's not afraid. He looks pretty ferocious, but she's not afraid. Or if she is afraid, I think I've written about this on my Substack, where my mother used to say, when your hand is in the lion's mouth, You have to dance to his music. Here, there is, it looks like there is a mutual agreement between them to live peaceably. And I think that that's something that we are going to have to dig to find. Again, I have little patience for people who say, well, I voted because I thought he would lower the price of eggs, or I voted for him because he's not, there won't be any more wars, or I voted for him because whatever. Bottom line, really? But a lot of people, because everything is hitting them too, they're being harmed as well, are saying mea culpa, mea maxima culpa. And we have to find a way to live with each other and ideally to band together to change the situation that we're in. The third week, the emperor. I feel like in that third week, he will try to do some other big thing that we'll all wake up and gasp over. So, he thinks he's the one that's got all the authority and um, he's the boss of us. So expect a big move. And then we have in the major arcana, we have the lovers. And lovers is not actual like romantic love. Not this card is not that. This card is more about agreements. And so I think that I'm going to do a very Lenormandist thing and say, take this first card, which is the Six of Wands, which is of Swords, which is, moving to um, calmer waters. If we're going to do that, we have to we have to come together. You know, we have to decide that we all have to agree what it is we want to be as a country. I still don't think we've agreed to that yet. And we will need to show strength in the face of someone who thinks they're the boss of us. Now, at the end of the month is the next No Kings rally. It's the 28th. So that would be this final card here. And I think that given the price of gas, given that we have gone to war, given that now people are afraid of retaliation, uh, given everything, as I've said many times, you're going to be surprised at who is to the left of you and who is to the right of you if you go to a march. It could be your neighbor that had a Trump flag up all these years and has finally taken it down in the middle of the night, and there he is standing next to you at a protest. We don't know. Minnesota is still happening. ICE is still there. That new guy that they just that's going to replace Kristi Noem, he's no better. So we are going to have to join forces against the forces of evil if our goal is to get to a better place. Because you can't get to that better place without first going through those storms. But this card is the promise that there is a better place if we choose it. The jury's still out on that. So I'm going to leave this here. I may or may not come on tomorrow, I'm not sure. But Sunday, you might want to jot this down. I'll put the little thing up so that you'll know. But um, I'm doing a Sunday conversation. It will be at, let me make sure I have the time right. Uh, yeah, so the Sunday conversation will be alive and it will be at 10 Pacific. That's 1 o'clock Eastern. And I'm going to have an old friend, someone I've known a long time, who is a tarotist. I don't know why my mouth is not syncing with my words. Okay, there we go. Um, a tarotist who has a new deck out. And so it's a Lenormand deck. And I asked if she wanted to come on and talk about her new deck and do some readings. So if you want to, you can bring your personal questions to the table in the live. Don't send them to me in advance. Just wait until I open the live up and then just put your question in the feed and I'll try to get to as many as we can do in, 45 minutes, an hour. Um, so I won't be reading, but she'll be reading with her new deck. And it's called the Simplicity Lenormand, and it's like a good learner's deck. Like I think there are keywords on it. I have it over here. But anyway, we're going to talk about that Sunday. So if you come to the live on Sunday at 10 Pacific, which is 1 Eastern, you may be able to get your personal question answered. She'll probably do like a one or, well, in my opinion, and also traditionally, you don't do a one card reading with Lenormand. Maybe she does, I don't know. But I asked her if she'd be willing to do some readings, and she said she would. So that's my little offering for Sunday. So thank you so much. Again, if you like what I do, please spread the word, and I will see you Sunday in the live. Take care.